it's Melissa. Happy Monday. Today I'm going to show you one of my little tricks that I do to avoid painting. I'm not a huge fan of painting. It's like a lot of mess and it's too much time, and I don't know. I feel like I never get the results that I want no matter what I do. I can sand the wood as much as I want. I could put on as light a coat as I want. I can have the best stencil ever. It never works for me, and I just don't care for the mess. I never have the right paint color, whatever. So what I do have is a whole heck of a lot of HTV, and what I do know is that HTV sticks amazingly to wood. So I'm going to show you how to do something like this. This is just a wood round. It's 12-ish inches. This one's like 11.75 or something like that. So, but this design, I'm going to show you how we are going to make this. This was just a sample that I did, and I do the sample so that you guys know. I actually do test this out beforehand, so when it doesn't work live, you'll just know it's because I'm live, and Facebook Live never works for me. But we just keep trying, don't we? Okay, so this design, along with a whole bunch of others, are from the Farmhouse SVG and font bundle, which is ending tonight. I threw the link up there. I also threw the link up there for these wood rounds. I also threw the link up there for this new blade that I'm using. So this is the Cameo 4 1mm manual blade. Now, those of you who don't have Cameo 4 or a Pro or a Plus are going to say, do they make this for the Cameo 3, the Cameo 2, the Cameo 1, the Portrait 1, the Portrait 2? Yes, they do. It's called the Ratchet Blade, okay? So this is just the Cameo 4 Series Edition version of the Ratchet Blade, okay? So now, if you have a Cameo 4 and you get this blade, it's 1mm, which means it has one set of circles there. You don't need to use the Ratchet Blade adapter anymore. You can put this right in your tool carriage and it will work for you. You don't need to. It's a replacement essentially for the Auto Blade, okay? So if you have trouble with the Auto Blade, and really who doesn't, this is an awesome alternative. So I threw the link up there for that too, okay? And somebody's asking, can I use this on the Cameo 4 Pro? Yes. When I say Cameo 4, unless I specify otherwise, I'm talking about all Cameo 4 machines. The Cameo 4, the Cameo 4 Plus, and the Cameo 4 Pro. Okay, the machines are all the same for the most part. Slight variations on the Pro. But when I say Cameo 4, unless I say except, you'll know I mean all of the Cameo 4 series. Okay? All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to cut this vinyl HTV. I did add, you probably can't see, I will show you. I added some weeding lines around there to make it a little bit easier while we're weeding. And all I need to do in here is when I put this in, all the links are up top. So if you're watching this back later or you're watching now, all the links for the Farmhouse SVG bundle, which ends tonight, the links to the blade, the links to the heat press, and the links to those wood round blanks are all up top. Let me get this cutting and then I'll answer a couple of your questions. So the thing that you need to know about this is when you go into your send panel and you are selecting it as the tool, you want to tell it, it's going to tell you, oh, you want to select the tool as manual blade 1mm. Now, here's the thing, and I said this to Silhouette, the icon looks like the Ratchet Blade, okay? So do not be confused. When you click manual blade 1mm, you are using this blade, not the Ratchet Blade, okay? You do not need, see how it's flat backed? That means, and it has a sensor, that means it fits in the Cameo 4. It's a little confusing, I will tell you that. Okay, so you're gonna put that in there. Because it has the sensor on the back, it's gonna automatically be detected by your software. Just give it a second and it'll find it for you, okay? And we are going to load this in. Move this stuff out of the way here. Those, by the way, come in a, well, I'll tell you in a second. Let's get this going. Actually, before we do that, I want to move my roller. When I cut the test cut, I did it without a mat, and so I pulled my right roller in. This one I'm going to cut with the mat, so I'm going to pull the roller back out. The reason that I am cutting with the mat is because you see how this is curled? That's how the piece was before. The other piece that I cut was before, and because I wasn't using a mat on the first cut, it was like having trouble cutting. So we're going to use the mat for that, but you can cut HTV and vinyl without a mat, just so you know. Okay, and I'm going to send this to cut. Okay, gonna take a couple minutes because it's a pretty big design. Those of you who are just joining, this is what we are making. This is just a wood sign, wood blank. It fits wood, so thick wood. This is not very thick. This is like, I don't know, not even a 1/4 inch probably. But if you have a, you can use it in your heat press, which is great. But if you have a swing away heat press, which comes down from the top, I'm going to show you. So when you have a heat press that comes down from the top, you are getting, there's no hinge, okay? So, and this is typically a problem with thicker wood, but so now it comes down straight on top, okay? Right now I'm not actually doing the HTV, I'm just demoing this. If you have a heat press that's a clamshell, what ends up happening when you can do wood, you can do thicker things, but if, let's say you have something that's, you know, a little bit thicker, with a swing away, because the heat press, the top platen is going straight down, you get even pressure. What happens on, I don't know if I can really even show you. I'm going to show you this. What happens on this one is because it has this clamp, the hinge, the back part hits the wood before the front, and you don't end up with an even close, if that makes sense, okay? So while it's possible to do it, I have so much stuff on the floor here, you have no idea. While it's possible to do it on both heat presses, it's just a little bit easier on the swing away, okay? And it's not a big deal at all if you have wood that is just so thin like this, because you're not going to have any pressure issue. All right, so people are going to ask, what do I set my temperature on? You're still going to set it on the same as you would for the material. When I say material, I mean the HTV. So we're at 305 for 20 seconds, okay? So once this cuts, I'll weed it, and then I'm just going to press it onto the piece of wood. And the thing is, when you're pressing with wood, you do not want to get too much pressure. If you get too much pressure, what ends up happening is you end up squeezing some of that adhesive out from underneath the HTV, and you get like a little bit of a ring around it. So you want to dip, I'm not going to say light pressure, medium pressure, because it depends on the thickness of your board. But just know that you don't want super tight pressure, because it ends up squeezing out that adhesive, okay? I don't know, I didn't have that issue with this one, but if you look closely, you can see there's no like shadowing around it. But if there was, you would be able to see, let's see, this didn't have that problem, so it's difficult to see, but if you did, you would have like a little bit of a border around each of the letters, okay? The other thing is these blanks are readily and easily available, so you can find them. I got these on Amazon. Again, I threw the link up top. You could do this with multiple colors of HTV, so if you wanted to cut this design on 3 or 4 different colors, you could certainly do that. I am cutting it on all one just for ease of use here during this Facebook Live, and because I'm talking about multiple other things as far as like the whole concept of this live today. What else was I going to tell you? Oh, I originally was hoping that I could do this design, or one of the designs from the Farmhouse Bundle, on printable HTV, because you can use printable heat transfer in like StarCraft. You can use those on wood, and they turn out beautifully. However, it's only 8.5 inches wide, and so my board is 12 inches, and so because of that, I don't have room to do it. I'm gonna see if I can find you some here. Here's an example of another piece of wood. This is just another blank wood. This one was printed on StarCraft inkjet printable vinyl, okay? And you can like look, okay? So tons of different things. Don't think that wood is only for painting. You can do lots of different things with it. You can put printable HTV on there. Let me look at this. Printable HTV on there. You can put HTV on there. You could put vinyl. If you're going to use vinyl, you need some kind of coating, like a polyurethane or a stain or something that's going to give it something for the vinyl to stick to. Okay. All right. So let's move back over here, and we will weed this vinyl. Actually, I'm going to take you over to the heat press to do this. Okay. Before I do that, let me get my weeding tool here. Now the reason that I'm going to take you back to the heat press, okay, look, you guys just look. This is what I'm dealing with. So when you see me like clicking, like stepping around, that's why. All right, so let me pull you right over here. The reason that I'm going to show you this is because if you weed on your heat press, you get a little bit of the heat, radiant heat from the press. It makes it a lot easier to weed your vinyl. Now this mat is really sticky, which is okay for HTV, but just be aware of that. Okay, so let's see. Now, my heat press is warm. So the radiant heat is really helping. Do you see how it's just peeling so easily? That's obviously a good cut, but that is also the radiant heat helping to release that adhesive. I'm barely pulling. I don't know if you can tell in the video here, but I'm not pulling a whole lot here. I am gonna, let me just grab a pair of scissors real quick so that we need to trim kind of as we go. If you guys aren't trimming as you go, you're making it harder on yourself. See how I have all this mess over here? Just make sure you're not cutting the actual, like, your actual design, okay? All right, so just peel kind of away as you're going. My heat press, it's just warmed up to what I need it on. So in this case, it is 305. And the reason that this is, those of you just joining, the reason that I'm weeding on my heat press is because of the radiant heat coming from both the bottom, and in this case, it's easy. I'm not worried about hitting my hand because I have this swing away, okay? Do you see this? Do you see how easy this is for me to weed? I really hope you're able to see this. All right, so what I have here, just so you guys are aware, is I created 2 weeding boxes. That's why I have these 2 blocks here, okay? So I just used the Draw a Box tool in Silhouette Studio to put around these 2 words. And the reason is it breaks up that negative space a little bit. Look at this. Look at this. Do you see? I'm barely pulling. It's so easy. I love weeding on my heat press. I don't do it a whole lot when we're on Facebook Live because it's a little tough. This angle obviously is a little awkward, but this is one of my favorite things to do. It is so easy. I can't even tell you. All right, so now the only thing that you do need to be aware of is that it's a little spongy. Okay, so when you have to use your hook, just be careful. You don't want to pull all the way through. But this, great trick. Okay, and then I just have to get all of these little counters out of there. You want to make sure that it doesn't hit your actual press. Okay. So when you combine all these different, I'm not just throwing this on my floor. I have a trash can here. But if I was throwing it on the floor, it wouldn't be the first time, just so you know. Okay, so when you combine all these little tricks, like the weeding boxes and the increasing your force to 14 for HTV and weeding on your warmed up heat press, you make it a lot easier on yourself, and you make it so you don't want to pull your hair out, and you won't be one of those people who I get emails from every single day that say, I give up. You will not give up. You will make this easier on yourself. Okay, now we're just going to pull this little excess piece. I'm going to trim off the bottom. I can use this for another cut. Okay, so before we put it on our piece of wood, just need to pull off the edge here. There was limited waste, so no one will yell at me for wasting HTV. Okay, and now we are ready. So I like to look at my design from both sides, and look, the reason I do this is it makes it much easier for me to tell if I missed a spot, and I can see right down here I missed a spot of weeding that I just need to remove. Okay, Sometimes when you're looking at it, I don't know, well, maybe it's just me. When I'm looking at it and it's like on the table or wherever, I don't see that there's a little straggler piece or a piece that I forgot or an excess piece of vinyl. Okay, so now we are gonna grab our piece of wood. Now, this design, I'm not gonna say it's awkward. I love this design. However, you've got this circle and you have the W, look at the W. And so what it ends up doing is you're like, that's not really the center of the circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half, lining up the circle to get the center of that, because I'm gonna have a real problem with myself and my sign if I line this design up and then it's not gonna be even. So I'm going to line it up so that the center of my circle is centered on the piece of wood. Okay, and I'm just going to give that a good look. Okay, so see this? Okay, that's about even. I eyeballed it. All right, so you're just gonna place that on there, and then you need your Teflon sheet. Okay, this is a 15 by 15, just so you know. It wouldn't fit on my 9 by 12. But if you had a smaller piece, you could do that. With this one, you need to hit the timer. The reason being, this is an 8-in-1, and so this whole contraption, the top platen and the bottom platen, can actually come off. And so you can use it with a mug press, a hat press, and your plate presses, actually. Because this controls everything, you need to manually hit the timer. It doesn't sense that you've locked it, okay? And then you turn that off to stop the timer, okay? And I will pull you back to my table. Here, now, this angle, you've gotten every angle, okay? Make sure that your design, and look at this. So, I love this option. Look, now you're getting a totally different angle from my office. I love this option because it comes out matte. This HTV comes out looking matte, which is exactly the look that you're gonna get with paint. There's no way. Now, do you want this? If you want this to look a little more rustic, well, you might not like this. You might not like this method. But I like not having to clean up a whole bunch of paint. Now, I'm not gonna talk about the fact that my office is a nightmare, but I don't like cleaning up paint. I don't like, it's just a personal thing. So for me, HTV is awesome. Now, I could drill a hole in this. I could put a piece of jute. I don't even know if I have any. Let's see what we have back here. Okay, so we could use a hot glue gun. If you have some ribbon, I have no ribbon right now, but if I had a piece of jute, I would just glue this on the back with my hot glue gun, okay? And then I can hang it, okay? Or however you want to do it. You could even make this double-sided. There's a ton of different things that you can do, okay? These pieces of wood, someone's asking, did I need to sand this? I literally did nothing. These come in a pack of 8. They're about, I think they're about $14, $13.99. So just so you guys know, all the links for all of this stuff, the design itself, if you're into farmhouse, check out the farmhouse bundle. It ends tonight. It includes 6 fonts and I forget how many designs, a whole lot of designs. But it ends tonight. It comes with a commercial use license for everything. The links for the bundle, the links for the wood, the links for the new 1mm. Make sure you get the 1mm. There is a 2mm also. The 1mm equivalent to the auto blade, except that you twist it yourself, so equivalent to the ratchet blade, and the link to the heat press. All of them are up top. Okay? All right, you guys, I hope you have a fabulous day, and happy farmhouse, happy HTV, happy putting wood on HTV, and happy silhouetting. Love you guys. See ya.